I'm your host, Joy River, and today on The Couch, we're having a very informative conversation. We are joined with the incredible Katrina Martin, a highly respected enrolled agent with a wealth of knowledge about taxes. She's here to provide us with the inside scoop on everything you need to know about navigating the intricate world of taxes. Musicians, singers, and entertainers, y'all pay close attention. So grab your cup of coffee, grab your journal, and settle in, and let's dive into today's episode of The Couch with Joy and Friends. Welcome back to The Couch with Joy and Friends. Thank y'all for joining us today. Today I have a special treat for y'all. It's gonna be real educational, so I need y'all to pull out y'all journals. I need y'all to get some tea or something and just stick with me. We're gonna be talking about self-care. But often when we think of self-care, we think of exercising, eating right, making sure we're meditating, making sure we're journaling, making sure we're doing all the things. But one thing I want y'all to do with y'all journal is start keeping track of your expenses. So today, we're talking about self-care money edition, our finances, making sure our businesses are intact, that we just not starting businesses and not keeping up with these businesses and not making money and then not putting away the money that's supposed to be put away. We got all the things. And guess what? This is not just to help you. It's to help me too, because I'm a business owner starting to understand what that means for real. Financially, because a lot of us are making money and we don't even know what net profit, we don't know what's going on, especially when it comes to filing your taxes. And I know most of y'all ain't filed in 5 years, maybe never filed, to be honest, because I'm a musician and it's hard for us to honestly not live check to check. So today I have an expert. You won't be hearing it from me because I don't know nothing about it, but we have an expert that is going to tackle the fear that we have around filing our taxes and letting people in on our money issues, y'all. So today we have, oh wait, before I start, make sure y'all subscribe. Go ahead and do that. Subscribe to the channel, and make sure you're dropping these green hearts and let me know that you're here, because all my friends be in the chat and y'all don't say nothing. Talk to me. So today we have Miss Katrina.
Hello, Joy.
Hey, thank you for coming. Thank you for
having me here. I'm excited to be on the couch.
Thank you. And she wore her green.
Yes, I did.
She wore her green.
You have to look. We have to do our color coordination, and this is my brand color too, so it's perfect. Yes.
Why did you choose green?
Green money, prosperity. Growth.
I love it.
And it's just my favorite color. Ultimately.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, like I was saying, money is a part of self-care, and I want to bring some awareness to that. And I want to start first, like, let's say you're a physician. Who are you? What do you do as far as taxes is concerned?
Yeah, so I'm Katrina Martin. I own Wild Tax and Advisory Service based out of Southfield, Michigan, but I work with clients worldwide. I'm an enrolled agent, so we talked about that before. It's similar to a CPA, but I specialize in taxes and advisory services. So I work with a lot of individuals that are high net worth earners, business owners that are from the beginning stages and all the ones that are in the growth stage, right? And then also helping transition into retirement as well.
Oh, dope.
I love what you talked about, especially with musicians and people that are have a talent and a passion, but that doesn't necessarily equate to the financial part of it, right? And I find that a lot of times, we've seen it in the industry where we see musicians that have had to file bankruptcy several times and that sort of thing. And then they always say, I wasn't aware of what was going on in my books. You don't have to be a master of the finances or money and all of those things, but you do have to be mindful of it. We do operate from our talents a lot of times, but we have to make sure that our talents are bringing in profits.
For sure.
And they have expenses. And we need to manage that in a way that we can make sure that we're going to be okay in the future, because we don't want just our work that we do now to just kind of fizzle out. We want to make sure that we sustain ourselves and our kids and their kids can have a legacy from what we do, more so than just the story of what we did. Actually have some financial backing behind what we did. Absolutely.
Pay our bills and things.
Yes.
So yeah, because most musicians that I know, paying our taxes for me, in my personal experience, and I know for a lot of other people, is not talked about. I can remember even paying my taxes 2 years ago. I'm putting my business out there. I told the tax lady, she's just like, when's the last time you filed? I was like 2 years ago. And the only reason I filed is because I got a check from doing a movie and I felt like I needed to. But after that, it was just church, meaning I would get cash. I would do what I need to do with it. I don't see anything on the check like I saw from the movie. So I'm like, well, I don't need to say nothing. This is my money. And if someone give me $10,000 in cash, it's going to go to where it needs to go. But taxes, I never think, if the church gives me $500, let me put this away for taxes and then put this away for that. There's no structure. So how can you help us when it comes to that? Like, how would you tell a musician or an entrepreneur or a self-employed person, even a hairdresser or anybody else, when y'all get this money, this is what the first step to filing or even going that route?
Absolutely. I think every dollar should have a destiny.
Ooh, wow.
You know, and I really feel like you should have a name on it. It has to be strategy, and that's part of self-care too. You know, managing your money, because if you're financially strapped, you're stressed
all the time.
All the time, and it eats at us. And we even when we're trying to meditate, we can't concentrate because it's looming in the back of our heads. So the best way to tackle fear is to do the thing that you're fearful of. You know, a lot of people are fearful about filing their taxes. Like they haven't done it for some years, so they're like, what's going to happen? Are they going to come after me? Are they going to come after me? I have friends that come up to me and say sometimes, or people that just see me and say, if the IRS comes and gets me, are you going to come get me? You know?
Oh my God.
And I'm like, they're not going to come get you. We're going to take care of it. And I think a lot of times people are so stressed when they jump on the phone with me or jump on a Zoom with me, and then as we're talking, they're like, "Why aren't you worried?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not worried because I got solutions, right?"
Yeah.
And so, but the biggest piece to it, and what I recommend that people do from the very first dollar, is you have to have a strategy and a plan. You need to know what your fixed costs are in your business. Like, we know if we have some subscription services, we know we got to pay that every month, right? But then we have these one-off things that come. All of a sudden, I want to take a course, or all of a sudden, I want to go to this conference. How do I manage that? You have to budget for these things. We can't just, and I find what happens a lot of times, especially if somebody has this huge influx of money, like all of a sudden they get $50,000 check. Make it rain. You know, we're going to make it rain, right? And you really don't have $50,000.
Ooh, how much they really got?
You really have, technically. Let's talk about it, right? It depends on all because money is accumulated. The way taxes are, they're looked at fiscally from January 1st to December 31st. So how much are you going to make during that 12-month span? So we have to look at all of that, right? And then we have to say, okay, what bracket does that put us in, right? What tax bracket does that put us in? If I made $100,000, am I 27%? Or am I 31%? We need to look at that bracket, right? But the beauty about being a business owner is we don't have to pay taxes on that whole $100,000. We get to take our expenses out. So let's talk about what your expenses are. So then you get to be strategic about those expenses, right? Which ones are part of my business? The travel, if I can make a vacation and have business travel combined and get to write it off. You just got to be strategic about it, and don't let your money run you. You got to control it. You know, I feel like a lot of times people feel like they're out of control with money, and that's because you're letting the money lead you. You have to lead it.
Oh, that's good. So here on the couch, we focus on healing in every way, including our finances. Financial peace of mind is important to me, and that's why I bank with Chime. Chime is an award-winning app and a debit card with no hidden fees or monthly minimums, y'all. And y'all know we need that. It's the banking of the future since it's 100% mobile and online. Chime offers a ton of awesome features. Users get fee-free overdraft on up to $100 in debit purchases with SpotMe. It's like overdraft protection, but way better. You can get your paycheck, benefits, stimulus check, and tax return up to 2 days earlier with direct deposit. Come on, y'all. They have automatic saving features where you can automatically save a percentage of your paycheck Or you can round up your purchases made with your debit card and save that amount. There are no hidden fees or no monthly minimums. This is a steal. Y'all, start banking with Chime today. So, sign up for a Chime checking account today to link your paycheck. It only takes 2 minutes and it doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/TCWJ. That's chime.com/TCWJ. When you say $50,000, you really don't have that much. Year January to December. So if I'm making, I'll say at church, you got a church gig, someone out here, and you're making $5,000 a month at this church. We really need to name every dollar and write down where it's going.
Oh, that's the magic word. Write it down, right?
Keeping those books.
Just having it in your head does not count. And that's the same with goals, everything, right? If we write it down, it becomes real, right?
Because listen, if it's in my head, trust me, I look at my account and go, where did it go? I swear I had 1,000 left.
Especially when you're in cash producing businesses. When you get cash in your hand, a lot of times, and that's from every aspect of business owners, hairstylists like you talked about, musicians, you get that cash in your hand, it goes here, you automatically start spending. You go to the store. The minute you break $50, it's gone. The minute you break $100, it's gone.
Whole thing.
I say all the time, you leave the house, it costs $100, right?
It costs $200 to breathe out there.
It does. For real. And every day it goes up.
Yep.
So when you get that money, it does not, you can't start spending it. It needs to go into, you need to go deposit it immediately. Deposit it. And then plan it. Or if you know that the money is coming, have the plan in advance. Okay, I'm going to put 10% in this account. I'm going to save this much because I know it's going to be some rainy days here. That's what we got to figure out. What are the seasons in our business? Because we have parts in our business where we make tons of money, or that's where we can make it rain.
Right.
And then we have the droughts where we're not making any money. And every business has the peaks and the valleys, right? So you have to have a savings to plan for that, because just because we have a drought doesn't mean we don't have to eat.
True.
And the bills don't stop coming because the money's not flowing.
Right.
So the savings part, you have to have your part where you're reinvesting back into your business to get back to more coins.
Right.
And then you have to pay your taxes and all of those things. And here's the part that I think a lot of people forget about is taxes is not just to be paid, right? Part of that helps to show what your net worth is, right? Because how do you buy a house? Got to show 2 years of taxes.
That's true.
Even if you need to hit reset on your finances, let's say you're in debt and all of a sudden you realize, I can't afford this. I need to file bankruptcy. Even to file bankruptcy, you need 2 years of tax returns.
Did y'all hear that? In order to buy a house, because all of y'all want to be homeowners, you got to show 2 years of taxes. Filed, y'all.
And you need to have some money on there, because if you're at a loss all the time, because this is what we find too, a lot of business owners will take huge losses because they want a refund. Yeah, I know I'm talking to you, right? So you're taking these massive losses every year. Like you're saying, I made $100,000, but I spent $120,000. So I'm at a $20,000 loss.
Right.
You're reporting that year over year over year over year, and it's fine because you probably have, if you have dependents, you can get a refund and all of those things. So I get it because you're trying to get capital, right? And if it's accurate, then that's great. But here's the thing, you can't grow like that. Your business can't grow and you can't grow, because here's the thing, in order to show your net worth, you got to show that your business is bringing in money. And that's where a lot of people failed to get capital during the COVID relief funds, because you didn't show enough capital, because they went off of how much your business was earning. To get PPP loans, to get EIDL loans, they need to see what you were making. If you took a negative year over year, what are you getting a loan on?
Right. Wow. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Okay. So with keeping up with your money, what is like one of the ways or a strategy that a person who's never filed before is saying, well, I do make $1,200 a Sunday, or I have a gig on Saturdays, and I'm making this amount. And even for the person that's getting $500, that check, how do they, because when you think $500, you're like, I ain't gonna have nothing at the end of this.
Yes.
After hearing you, I'm like, that is literally like $25 maybe that you might can just.
No, you still no, because here's the thing. So you're looking the 500, right? You're just setting it aside. Let's say you're even putting $50 away. I'm putting $50 away for taxes. I'm putting $100 into my savings, and here I'll keep the rest.
Okay.
I may reinvest $50 back into my business, but then the difference. It doesn't have to be extreme. It just needs to be something. Just have a plan, and then as you grow and you start to have more savings, then you can change it up a little bit. But at least start somewhere. Even if you're saying, I'm putting $50 here every time in my savings, I'm going to put $100 away for taxes every time, and then this, I'm gonna do what I can with this. I got bills to pay. I got things to do. And sometimes you may say, I got to pay all the bills with this, and that's okay. That's okay. But here's the thing, because everything's accumulation, right? But at least have a plan for it, because what I find a lot of times is most people are just kind of moving. Like, where'd the money go? I don't know.
Girl, this...
You know, there's no bookkeeping, there's nothing, you know, and I say bookkeeping is actually not really expensive. We have people at my firm, we do bookkeeping for some, if you're not having a lot of transactions, it's $300 a month. $500 a month. But here's the thing, when you're looking at numbers, you tend to grow more. When you're kind of keeping them in the back of your head, that's where you start to struggle, and that's where you don't know where you're at. That's when I talk to people and I say, well, how much revenue did you make last year? Well,
then they don't know.
They don't know.
So bookkeeping, for starters, you said, is there any like apps or ways that people can start bookkeeping?
Absolutely.
Today?
So I work with a company called Vincent too, and so I'll share the link with you guys too. And that they're really, really reasonable. And one of the things is they go off of how much your expenses are every month. So that's a good way to do it, because if you're don't have a lot of expenses every month, you can pay, it's dirt cheap. And that's a business write-off too, because it's a bookkeeping expense. And here's the thing, when you're trying to get loans, when you're trying to get things of that nature, the first thing that the bank asks for is a profit and loss statement and a balance sheet. And most people, if you're not doing bookkeeping, you can't produce those things. Right. And then they call, hello, can I get a back? Like, it doesn't just happen and then they are actually, this is a reporting. This is something that we do every month, right? And when you know the numbers, you can manage your business. When you don't know the numbers, your business is managing you. And no matter what strategies you're putting in place behind the scenes, you can't really, you got the 4 legs in the business: the operations, the marketing, the finance, and the management, right?
So one more time. Write this down in y'all. Write this down in y'all journal. Seriously, write these things down and remember them. Bookkeeping, and then the 4.
Yes, the 4 legs of your business, because the operations piece, that's the how do we keep the pieces moving? What are the pieces? What are the pieces on the board, right? We think of a chess piece, a chess game. What are the pieces on the board? Who's responsible for what? That's the operations piece. The management piece is who's responsible for telling those pieces what they're supposed to be doing, right? The marketing piece, you guys are the sales guys, go out there and make things happen. These are the campaigns we're going to put out, right? That finance piece, we want the income from it, right? But nobody wants to talk about what has to go out, right? And to keep all those pieces on the board, you have to have a strategy with the money of it, because the whole point of having the pieces on the board, A, is passion, because we love what we do. But then B, we're not nonprofits, right? And if we are nonprofits, it's still to make a profit doing a service, right? But the value in knowing your numbers makes you so you have this amount of peace about you, because you're like, I know what I'm doing. Even when you're not making that much, even when you're not where your goals want to be, you can say, I'm right here right now. Here's what I can do in the next 3 months. You have a starting point. If you don't have a starting point, how can you get to the end?
Yeah. Jesus.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, that's yeah. Okay. What's another way to help people drop the fear of filing their taxes and just starting? Like, even if you're making, you don't have to make $10 million or have this big grand business to start filing your taxes. You can be making a little bit. And I want people to let me not call her out. we got into some trouble long time ago because we don't know what the IRS is. We young people saying, well, we can do this and we can do that. You can file your children, you can hire them, it was so many things that there's so many rumors about how to file your taxes and everything. And laws change, things change, and the information is just whatever. And I just want people to hear from you, the expert, on some things that when it comes to taxes, so people drop the fear around it. And
I think the best way to, and this is personal too, the best way to overcome fear is to do the thing that you're scared of.
Right.
You know, that's the only way is to take it head on, because no matter, everybody's afraid of everything, you know, especially when it's new and especially when it's something you don't have full understanding of. Yes. Right. Of course, you're going to be fearful of it, but that's when you talk with experts. Whenever I jump on a call, people are immediately nervous, right? And then the minute after we talk for a few minutes, they're like, okay, you know, because it's like, what you were running from it's a boogeyman. It's not real, right? It's not real. There's a solution for every problem, right? You just have to address it.
Right.
You know, people don't go to the doctor because they're afraid of what they're going to say, but not going to the doctor
will prolong whatever's happening.
It's going to make it worse, right? When you do go, it's worse.
Yeah.
And so the same thing happens with your finances and taxes, right? You avoid doing it, and the longer you take, you're hurting yourself more.
Yeah.
But what you're afraid of is it's a fixable solution, right? And then you're just spinning the wheels. And I understand sometimes it's hard to rip the Band-Aid off, but make that call. Make that call, because what you're afraid of on the other side is relief, you know?
And too, what I learned also from the few minutes of listening to you, and if I say it wrong, you can correct me. Filing our taxes, even if you have to pay $1,500, you'll be making $15,000.
Yes.
And I think instead of us, because I know in our community, Black people, I love y'all. We always hear, man, I owed the IRS $100,000. I had to give them $100,000, and you just be like, I'm not giving the IRS that much. I don't even make that much. So, and it scares us to this place. So, can you talk about how paying your taxes helps you keep money?
I'm so glad you said that, Joy, because there are tax strategies for everything, right? So when I hear people say I paid $50,000 in taxes, I immediately go, you overpaid.
Ooh.
You overpaid, because there are so many strategies and solutions and loopholes but you have to work with a tax advisor to understand that, right? When I'm talking to clients, I just talked to a client yesterday, and she was like, we paid $7,000 in taxes. So I just looked over their last 2 years of tax returns, and she was like, the year before we paid $10,000, last year we paid $7,000. And I'm like, well, they were high net worth owners. So they were both making over $100,000 at their jobs. And I looked immediately when I looked at their tax returns and looked at their W-2s, I already saw how they could have put that money back in their own pockets, right? They weren't investing any of the pre-tax savings that their employers offered. They weren't putting in a 401k. They weren't putting in HSAs. But there's a solution for everybody, no matter what. You can make $1 million and pay zero taxes, right? You can make $1 million. You invest in real estate, you do cost segs. Why does Donald Trump not pay $0?
And they're
right?
trying to make him pay them dollars.
And when they released his tax returns, it became a case study for me. I just went and dived in on him. I wanted to see what was there. Basic solutions, basic strategies. Don't get me wrong, he has a team that are putting things together. But it's strategies. And so you don't have to think that you're just going to have to pay all this money out, right? But people don't want to reach out to the right people to get the solutions, and trying to DIY yourself into things. You can only get so much. You can only DIY yourself into so much when there's a real education behind this. I'm at conferences constantly. I was in Utah last week at a conference, right? Because there's constant tax laws change every year. You have to stay up on this. So what you heard last year as the rumor is totally different this year. You know, so pain is a problem, because you have to have somebody look at it to stop the bleed. Because if you're giving too much money away every year, then wait a minute, what could I be doing? What could I invest in that could put this money back into my own pocket? You know, and a lot of times we just get so used to doing the the checking the boxes that we don't think, what's behind there?
Yeah.
Is there more to this? You know, and there is, but you have to make that first step in just talking to somebody about, here's what I'm doing. I'm making this money. I don't know what to do with it. Help me. Simple enough. Okay, so let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So where's your income coming from? How many income streams do you have? Let's talk about it. Okay, what are your expenses? Let's get this detailed. Okay, well, how's your business structure? What type of entity do you have? Have you set up an LLC? Why do you have 28 LLCs? Are you managing them? You know?
Get off me! Yes, girl.
Which ones of these need to be dissolved? Which one should be an S corp? You know, which one should be? Do we need a C corp? Are you interested in what type of investments are you interested in doing? Would you like your retirement account to buy the house for you? Instead of just waiting for you to retire, you know, there are so many.
Rich. That's rich. I think we all need to breathe that in. All those questions that she just asked, if you rewind it and go back and just write these questions down and answer them for yourself. Every last question that she just said was gold. I'm gonna go back and even.
The one question I always ask people when I talk to them the first time, I said, "What keeps you up at night, as far as your finances, and your business?" And the number one question is my taxes. And I'm like, well, what part of that? Because I can help you. You know, what part of that? Oh, well, that I haven't filed in several years. Okay, easy fix. Let's fix it.
And that's what happened with me when I went to the lady, and she was like, "When the last time you filed?" I was like, "Now listen, it's been a minute." And she's like, "It's okay."
Yes.
And then when she did it, it took us about 3-4 hours. Y'all, so have some time on your hands if you haven't filed. Like, don't be rushing the process. Because we really want to go in that meeting. I am, and I'm talking personally. We really go into these meetings like, we got things to do. Come on. But it's really important, okay, for us to get into filing our taxes and making our businesses legit and knowing where our money's going. Because I'm tired of getting it. And then I'll be like,
yeah,
well, I'll wait on it again. No, I want to put my money and make it work for me and not me work for it, okay? And I want that for everybody else. That's because I got tons of friends who doing great things, and I even have friends who stopped their businesses because of taxes and things of that nature. Bookkeeping, basically payrolls, and it's just too much.
It's a lot. Yeah, you know, and that's why you hire people.
See, and outsourcing.
That's why you hire people, because you need to operate in your gifts. Your gifts are what bringing the income in, right? Let other people operate in their gifts, and then you can focus in the areas that you're bringing the profits in. When you can really shine in your area and let all those other things be managed, then you can sit there and you can build strategy and really start to excel. When you're muddled down in the things that don't bring you passion, you start to put everything off.
I'm telling you, I told her, I said, I go to sleep. I go physically, literally. When I start being the bookkeeper, the editor, everything, me and CJ literally run this by ourselves. The business and the operation and the system of it. And we're always in a meeting. So how can we do this? How can we do this? And it literally, when I have to do this part, I'm like, well, here we are.
Here we are.
You know, and I know for a fact, starting to name every dollar is a step to creating a very good system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I think even too, I want to talk to the people that if you do owe and you've held off on owing and say you look up and you owe $100,000 to the IRS, right? For all the back money that you made. There's a solution for that too. You know, I step in your shoes and become you as a power of attorney and represent you to try to get that reduced, or to try to get that to set up an offer and compromise. Sometimes we say, hey, we all know we owe you $100,000. Well, can we give you 20?
Please.
You know, can we give you 5? You know, and a lot of times we're able to we have a solution for that too. So just because I give you what it says on the paper is a crazy number, it doesn't mean that that's what you have to pay. We can we can negotiate better terms for you, right? So don't just run from it, right? Because I feel like the running, we're trying to make sure that we build a legacy for our families, right? And you can't do that with putting your head in the mud. And we have to stand up for our children and our grandkids to come, because we need to make sure that we build a solid foundation on them, because it's going to grow. They're going to build from that. If we leave them in a swamp or a quicksand, then what, how can they grow from that? You have to give them a hand up. And it starts with us. It really starts with us. Most of us don't come from places where there is financial literacy.
It's not.
I didn't grow up knowing about this. I had to seek this, and I had to keep pay for knowledge to get this. I grew up I grew up in Detroit, single mom, teenage mom, all of those things. So financial literacy, it was survival.
Right. Survival mode.
And most of us grew up like that, so knowing that, we have to make sure that our kids don't grow up on that, and the best way to do it is you don't have to know everything. You just have to know enough to talk to the right people to get help.
And I want to say too, to the community, let's break that pattern of, if I don't know, I just, whatever. I'm just gonna move past it, and I ain't gonna let people in. Like, what happened in the house, stay in the house. I ain't gonna let nobody know my business. Like, I want to drop that pattern and say, okay, I'm gonna open up to, and you're enrolled agent.
I'm an enrolled agent, yes.
So that is different from a CPA or a tax person.
Tax attorney,
because we Black people, we good to say, I'm going to the tax lady.
Yes.
I'm going over there. I'm gonna go to the tax lady.
Yes.
And can you say the difference
is
in all of those?
Yes. So I'm an enrolled agent, meaning I'm licensed through the IRS, actually. So the testing that I took was I took 3 tests, very intensive tests, tax representation, tax law, all of those things, right? So CPAs take accounting tests. So they take 4 tests, and this one of those tests is about tax. So some CPAs don't do taxes, or they'll have an enrolled agent perform the tax services for them. And tax attorneys represent clients for taxes, right? So we all have our windows, but they kind of overlap in some ways. Like a CPA, an enrolled agent, and a tax attorney, we can all represent you with the IRS. Enrolled agents were licensed by the IRS, and so I can work with I don't work for the IRS, I have my own business, but we're licensed through them, saying that they've done our background checks, we know what we're talking about. And so I'm licensed to work with clients nationwide, whereas CPAs typically are licensed for the state that they're in.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like I said, most of them are CPAs, 4 tests. 1 test is tax, 3 are accounting based, right? So a lot of times people say, they'll call and say, oh, are you a CPA? And I'm like, well, nope, I'm an enrolled agent, but what service did you need? And a lot of times they're talking taxes. So I'm like, actually, I'm the specialist for that. So I think a lot of times people just learn monikers of words and things, and they just, like people say a Xerox, when it's a copy machine, it's the brand of that, but it's not that, it's not what the service that you need. So enrolled agents specialize in taxes.
Got you.
Yes.
So I hope y'all wrote those down too, and the meanings and all of those things, because a lot of y'all going on YouTube, going on Instagram, and y'all listening to people who don't do taxes. They just learn from Instagram and they're regurgitating. And I want to make sure that all of you are connecting with people who know what they're doing. So that means ask questions. Hey, what are you certified in? Are you licensed with the IRS? Yes. And make sure when you're giving, if you got to give a tax lady some money, make sure where you're giving your money is actually going to what you needed to go to.
Absolutely.
Because I've had the tax lady that said, hey, I need $1,000, Joy, because you owe you gonna have to pay me $1,000 because you ain't. If you really want to know, and I done been gypped, I can be honest, based on just moving versus doing my research and really finding out if this person is certified and licensed to do this job. So y'all be careful with your money, be careful with your time and your resources and all the things, okay? But Miss Katrina is certified, bona fide for real, okay?
20 years in, yes.
Yes, so if y'all are looking for someone, please, 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 get her information. Y'all know it's in the description. It's at the bottom of the screen. Reach out to her company. I'm going to even reach out and start, I can't go to the tax lady no more. We're going to get us a, what you call it? What do you? Enrolled agent. See, we learning new things, y'all. Enrolled agents.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I just really appreciate
Joy.
We got to come back for part 2 because we're going to all start this journey together.
I love that.
We're going to start filing our taxes. And I think when is the right time to file?
I think the right time to file depends on where you're at in business. So W-2 workers a lot of times will file early in the tax season, right?
Okay.
A lot of time business owners, and I recommend this as a strategy, a lot of times business owners, I do recommend that you file an extension, right? Because even when you have all of your ducks in a row and you've been doing the bookkeeping, we can automatically pull your profit and loss statement. A lot of times the secret, a lot of the returns that get audited are the ones that first come in, right? And so when we're delaying that kind of process, and also the entity type that you have plays a part in who gets audited. Schedule Cs get audited the most. And that's what a lot of business owners are. Sole proprietors, single member LLCs, those are Schedule Cs a lot of times, and those get audited the most. So S Corps tend to get audited the least amount, but here's the thing, and C Corps. Here's the thing, though, about filing S Corps, and I see so many TikToks and all this stuff about becoming an S Corp. There's a time to do it. There's a strategy behind everything, and there's a time to do it. So don't just start off the gate as that. You have to be making a certain amount of money. You have to be stationed to continue to making a certain amount of money, because there's a cost that's associated with it. So don't just jump out the gate and just start to see something and go sign up to do that, because it could cost you on the back end.
We sure thank you.
You're welcome.
We thank you so much. She gonna come back, so don't y'all worry. She'll be back. Once y'all file y'all taxes first, and then y'all send me some questions. Like after y'all file, you've been through it, and you got a little more, you want to get a little more in depth, then hit me up. Hit Miss Katrina up. Ask the questions. Get the knowledge that you need. This is information available to you. Okay? So thank you for coming.
I appreciate you.
For real. So y'all already know, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter where you grow, there's always room for you right here on the couch. See y'all next time.